of us.
3-2 to Adames. High fly ball out to right center field. Racing back is Arozarena at the track wall. It is gone!
The Brewers venture to the kingdom of Kansas City to take on the Royals. Our coverage begins tonight at 6:05 on your home of the Milwaukee Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ.
Good morning, 9:01. We have sunny skies, 58 degrees. It's going to be nice today with highs 63 lakeside, 71 inland. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Connie Weber. A couple of weekend shooting incidents involving police. A Milwaukee police officer recovering this morning after being shot in the leg last night while patrolling on foot. Cinco de Mayo celebrations near Cesar Chavez and Scott on the city's south side. Milwaukee Police Chief Jeffrey Norman.
There's no such thing as celebratory gunfire. We use a lot of different resources to work with the community this weekend to have a safe, fun, family-oriented event, and here we are dealing with the same type of violence that's senseless. It must stop.
3 people in custody, not clear whether or not the officer was targeted by the suspects. On Milwaukee's northwest side, police shot and killed a suspect after a chase. TMJ4's Sydney Orr.
The situation began as Slinger police were searching for a suspect wanted for child abuse, disorderly conduct, domestic violence, and exposing himself to a minor. It was just before 9 o'clock when a car pursuit began between that suspect and Germantown police. We're told the suspect engaged a Milwaukee County Sheriff's deputy who then shot the suspect multiple times.
Brookfield police will lead that investigation. An arrest this morning in connection with a fatal Milwaukee hit and run on Sunday. A 33-year-old picked up the suspect vehicle found last night near 5th and Arthur after the deadly crash at 19th and Lincoln. It's the second fatal hit and run in a week. A 4-year-old girl was killed Tuesday on the city's north side. As commencement season ramps up at colleges and universities across the country, many still wrestling with the effects of pro-Palestinian protests and encampments. Well over 2,000 people have been arrested at campuses nationwide. Here's ABC's Matt Gutman.
Schools are working hard to restore a sense of normalcy. UCLA's chancellor announcing that work, classes, and events will resume in person starting this morning. And USC, which has canceled its graduation and forbidden its Muslim valedictorian from speaking, now announcing a major graduation party here at the Coliseum for the class of 2024.
Here in Wisconsin, student protests now stretching into their second week across the UW system. Meanwhile, the Run for Their Lives group is marching in support of Israeli hostages. Leah Chernayeva is a refugee from Ukraine who's been living in the U.S. since 1995. She tells TMJ4 News she believes releasing the hostages will bring an end to the fighting.
I really feel for civilians in Gaza, but why civilians in Gaza being killed? This war could have been stopped. Hamas would surrender or at least make steps to return hostages. Here it goes. That's number one demand by Israel.
Run for Their Lives organizers have been meeting weekly in Milwaukee for months. Another day in court for former President Donald Trump as his criminal hush money trial resumes in New York. He's accused of falsifying business records to cover up alleged payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels prior to the 2016 election. Another round of severe weather in the forecast from South Dakota to Texas. Oklahoma's in the crosshairs again today with an elevated risk of tornadoes and damaging hail. ABC's Jim Ryan says the EF4 twister that leveled parts of south central Oklahoma last week killed one person.
The storm might have taken 2 more lives were it not for a 9-year-old boy.
I was really scared.
Brandon Baker was in the back seat racing toward a storm shelter when his parents' pickup truck was blown off the road and into a ditch. His parents were badly hurt, but Brandon was okay.
Went to go get help. I said, don't die.
He ran a mile for help.
He's a very courageous son.
Wayne and Lindy Baker both had broken necks, but they will recover thanks to their son.
Not many adults would have done what he did.
Jim Ryan, ABC News.
Time for some news about your money in the WTMJ NX Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up 114 points, the Nasdaq up 101, the S&P 500 is up 29. It's a great time for your retirement and investment strategy review from a fee-only fiduciary. Go to nxwealth.com and click the Get Started button now. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Sighting Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 9:05.
At Blaine's Farm and Fleet, we get you outdoors because we get you. When it's time to plant and grow your dream yard, we get you the right products at the right prices. Like $3 off select Miracle Grow Moisture Control Potting Mix or organic raised bed and garden soil. 40-pound bags of Estate Sun to Shade Lawn Seed Mix, $109.99. And 32-ounce Bio Advanced Tree and Shrub Protect and Feed Concentrate, $21.99 after $5 mail-in rebate. Plus, visit our outdoor garden centers, now open at select Blaines Farm and Fleet stores.
Vince Vitrano for Absolute Comfort HVAC and Electrical. I'm joined by Nicole. She and her husband Brent own the company. Nicole, why should folks call you guys?
Because we treat your home like ours. That means honest and high quality work. We want you to be a part of our family. We're there for your emergencies when you need it, but most important to us is building a long-term relationship for all of your HVAC and electrical needs.
Absolute Comfort HVAC and Electrical, 262-664-9284, yourcomfortguys.com.
Inflation is real, but not at the family-owned Mine Shaft restaurant in Hartford. WTMJ's John Mercure here. This is new. Every Monday, when you buy one pizza, you get a second pizza free. Buy 5 pizzas, get 5 free. Buy 10, get 10 free pizzas. Coaches and teachers, bring your team or school club. Your players will love the pizza and that world-class game room. It's safe. It's super affordable. It's great team bonding. Bring in pizza today for your loyal employees and clients. They'll remember you, and a great way to start the week is your second pizza is always free. Don't cook and clean today. Mondays are tough enough. Enjoy the free pizza at the Mine Shaft. I love the pizza. Your kids and grandkids will love that huge game room. Order now, pick up your pizza shortly, or dine in. The Mine Shaft in beautiful downtown Hartford and just off the interstate in Oshkosh. Buy one pizza today, get one free for an easy Monday. And desserts, buy one, get one free. Just walk on in. MineShaftRestaurant.com. It's the amazing Mine Shaft.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. The Cubs shut out the Brewers 5-0 to claim their series from Wrigley Field. Brew Crew remained first in the NL Central at 20-13. They visit the Royals tonight for the first of 3 games. And Packers rookies hit the practice field over the weekend. Head coach Matt LaFleur said the linebackers really stood out over a 2-day workout. Mandatory minicamp takes place on June 11th. Taking a look at your roads now with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. We have some problems. I-94 westbound right now about a mile beyond the ramp from Highway 100. Right shoulder blocked due to a disabled vehicle. The right lane is blocked due to a crash at the ramp from Moreland Avenue and I-94 west about 2.5 miles beyond the ramp from Moreland. The right shoulder blocked again due to a broken down vehicle. Here's your WTMJ 5-day forecast. It's going to be nice today with high 63 lakeside, 71 inland, then increasing cloudiness late tonight, low of 49 overnight. Showers and storms likely tomorrow, high 67 to 72. Rain chances late on Wednesday, high 68 to 74. Cool, cloudy, breezy on Thursday with highs in the mid to upper 50s. And then Friday, partly cloudy with a high of 60. Madison 60, Green Bay 62, Milwaukee 57 degrees. I'm Connie Weber, citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time 9:08.
Good morning, Wisconsin. So let's pour that coffee and talk to some experts about what's going on in Milwaukee, Madison, Washington, and beyond. Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. It's the Political Power Hour on WTMJ. Here's your host, Steve Scaffidi.
Should we talk about the government?
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Monday show. Oh, we got a good one today. I'm looking at these two gentlemen in front of me and at GKB Studios right here in Wisconsin Avenue, downtown Milwaukee. Beautiful day. Bill Glover, longtime journalist. How are you, Bill?
I'm doing great. Thanks. You're really amped up on a Monday.
Well, I've had a couple cups of coffee. I had a great weekend. Who couldn't have not enjoyed this weekend when the weather was fantastic? AJ Bayatpour, CBS 58, great political reporter and general reporter as well. Good morning.
Steve, thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. So I assume we're all caffeinated.
Absolutely.
Getting there. I'm getting there at the moment.
Yes.
We're working on it.
One of my favorite coffee companies, Valentine. All right, gentlemen, protests. Much talked about. You couldn't turn on a weekend program, whether it was Smerconish or Face the Nation, Meet the Press, all the other ones that I sample on over the weekends, without hearing about the protests. I want to approach it first from this angle. We see the war in Gaza, Israel, Hamas, stretching out now since October 7th of last year. Now it's May. No sign of any ceasefire that at least I'm aware of. There have been certainly high-level conversations in other countries involving the principal partners here. But in the U.S., students have decided they're going to hang their hat protest-wise on that issue. Bill, you're somebody that's covered protests, Act 10. You weren't old enough in '68, I'm assuming. You were a kid then.
I was at summer camp in 1968 when the Democratic Convention took place.
Right. That was some pretty significant protests in the history of our country. Does this rise to that level?
No, it does
not. Tell me
not.
why.
Well, because the U.S. is not at war. The U.S. isn't taking 17,000 deaths a year out of a Vietnam War. It's not the same. The numbers are not the same. The intensity in the small numbers obviously is the same, but we're talking about a small group of people who are protesting. It's not mass protest.
Are you surprised, AJ, that this is the issue that the students across America, across the college campuses are hanging their hats on?
Not particularly. I mean, I think that this is an example of what life is like now in the social media era. I mean, now you can actually see at your fingertips videos that are posted from Gaza. So whatever major conflict is happening, you can see it. I do wonder what there is a long-standing history here too that I think students find themselves gravitating toward. There's this idea of the Palestinians have had this long struggle for freedom. So I think that makes it that much more attractive of a cause for students. And I think that there's an aspect of challenging our own government, and they view it as the U.S. is all in supporting Israel. So I'm not surprised that, we know that college students tend to have left-leaning politics. So it wouldn't be surprising to me that this would be a particular type of conflict where they would go all in on.
So if this is not a war like Vietnam, but it's a war that certainly college students have said we care about, and we care about how people are being killed in Gaza because of the actions of the Israelis. I've been a fan of Israel since it was created. Obviously, I wasn't born then. But, I mean, that is a country that needs to exist for all the reasons we learned about since I was a little kid and you were a little kid. That country needs to be there. That being said, these students, this is just me saying, I don't think they have a sense of really what they're hoping for here other than to stop the fighting. But that's not a realistic goal when you're talking about two sides, Hamas, a terrorist organization, and a country, Israel, trying to defend the rights of its citizens to exist.
I think there's a generational politics going on. You and I are older. We have a longer look at Israel. Remember when Israel was the underdog. I think for many of the young people, they've seen a different sort of Israel under the Netanyahu government. A very right-leaning government. They've seen Israel on the offense as well as get attacked. So I think it's a generational difference, and I think you have to take. I take the protesters' views seriously. I'm not going to condemn them for being out and protesting for what they believe in. They obviously believe they want to stop any sort of movement of college to Israel, having relationships there. I may disagree with that, but it's a discussion that's probably worth having. And they also want to see the big foundations take out their divest from Israel and defense contractors.
All right, so we see two campuses in Wisconsin primarily, UW-Madison, UW-Milwaukee. Milwaukee has had encampments since the beginning. There's really been not much friction at all with law enforcement. Madison, we had a dust-up last week where we actually had the two lines, protesters and law enforcement, come together. Some individuals got banged around a bit. Why the difference, do you think?
Well, the difference is in Madison, they actually ordered the police in to break up the encampment. That hasn't happened at UW-Milwaukee. The Madison decision is interesting because it seems as though you got caught in the middle right now. It's either you let this encampment go and let it peter out on its own, or if you're going to send the cops in to break it up, don't you have to commit to keeping it broken up? Instead, you send the officers in once, the tents are back up within a few hours, and now they've been up. So what exactly was the purpose there? Would be the question that I would have for Chancellor Mnuchin.
I don't know what the answer to that question is, Bill. What sense did that make?
I don't understand why they just don't let the encampments stay up as long as they remain in place and don't badger the rest of the campus life, and let's see what happens. It's coming towards the end of the semester.
Think about this point, though, during the break. And we got a break here on WTMJ. Political Power Hour is our location. They are breaking the law. And that would be, I would think, the argument to break up those camps. We'll take a break. Lots more to get to. Political Power Hour, WTMJ.
Tony Drake here from Drake & Associates. Big news. Our Retirement Ready radio show is moving to a new time slot. Catch us at noon every Saturday. At Drake & Associates, we craft tailor-made plans that not only meet your financial needs, but align seamlessly with your unique lifestyle. Tune in at noon on Saturdays and get retirement ready.
Drake & Associates, LLC is an independent investment advisory firm that offers a variety of different investment vehicles. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as individual investment advice. Drake & Associates, LLC does not provide legal or tax advice.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Avid. I had snoring issues, tossing and turning, restless nights of sleep. That does not have to be your reality. I didn't put up with it. I went to Advent, 30-minute visit, talked to 2 docs. Now, everybody's different problems, different solutions. They got to mine, and it was basically with a simple sleep study at home. They determined my problem, sinuses, nasal passages. Figured it out. They did a short procedure in office and back to breathing better than ever. Again, last night, 8 hours, uninterrupted sleep. Yes, I do go to bed early. If you struggle like I did with restless nights, take the time to see how Advent can help you to find out breathing well and sleeping well can make your nights better. Go to AdventKnows.com and schedule an appointment today because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better.
Suit up for the $800,000 Sports Car Series at Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee. April through May, score free play, cash, one of 4 new Toyota GR86s or a new Toyota Supra. Play with your club card to earn entries, 5 times the entries on drawing days, and when the Milwaukee Brewers play at home. Got what it takes? Slugger, only at Potawatomi. For more details, visit paysbig.com/sportscar. Must be 21 and a club member to play.
Honoring those who dedicate their lives to keeping us safe. WTMJ and yours truly is highlighting first responders who go above and beyond all the past year. It's my salute to service. I've done it for, I think, 7 years now. It's presented by Waterstone Bank and sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited. Nominate your first responder right now. I'm already working on scheduling interviews, so please, please, please give me those nominations. Name, departments, how they impacted your life. That's all I need. A couple paragraphs. You can find it at WTMJ.com on the banner. Easy, click on it, take it to the nomination page, or on the WTMJ mobile app. Nomination period open until May 10th. Finalists will be recognized during Hero Week right here on the show. Second half hour of each program, May 20th through the 24th. Help me tell those stories. It's my salute to service, presented by Waterstone Bank and sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited. All right, gentlemen, Bill Glauber, AJ Bayatpour, they're breaking the law technically. They're not supposed to have encampments.
So what? I mean, seriously, if
well, it's the law, Bill.
Do you want more scenes of protesters and police pushing and shoving, and then have those encampments back up within an hour? I mean, if you're either going to enforce the law or you're not going to enforce the law. But what they did at UW-Madison was silly, and they looked bad and weak.
How about turning the sprinklers on them?
Oh, that's not a bad idea.
Well, that probably wouldn't be a good look either. But, when you bring up the idea of, well, bottom line is it's illegal. That's true. But at the same time, we've had people setting up camps outside the Kohl Center ahead of events before.
There's a tent encampment right under the freeway about 2 blocks from here.
So there's certainly selective enforcement, or has been, if you will, in terms of when you can and can't set up a tent. I think the more compelling argument for why you might not want to let this stand is because are you setting a precedent that if some sort of hate group in the future wants to do something like this now, you've set the standard that what if a group of white supremacists wants to set up camp on Library Mall?
That's
can
the
they
issue.
now? To me, that's the argument for not tolerating this. I will say, having been in Madison 2 days last week and once at the UW-Milwaukee campus, I haven't seen, and we haven't had any reports here in Wisconsin, similar to some of the beyond the pale stuff that was happening at Columbia University or UCLA, where the demonstrators are either occupying buildings and causing destruction, like also happened at Portland State University.
Is that the line? Destruction of property, taking over a building?
I think buildings and also setting up encampments with checkpoints and blocking students further out on the campus. I think those would be the end points where you have to say, okay, enough already.
If it's a full-on occupation and you're telling someone you don't meet our standards to walk through this public space, that's going too far. But that's not what I've experienced in Madison.
Okay, so if this is just a general thought about individuals, because it's always about individuals, not just a group. A protester physically, take that back, verbally assaults a Jewish student at one of these campuses. Does that cross a line? Because then you're saying to the Jewish student, you're not welcome here, basically. Does that cross a line? Should that Should the school, university go after that protester because they are threatening the life?
Well, at that point, you have issues, and you need to remove the individual who's doing that.
Yeah, I don't know if that's happening.
I don't believe it has happened, and it was a report, but the report was not correct.
There was initially a report that there were multiple students chanting Heil Hitler.
Right.
It turned out that what UW-PD in Madison is investigating, and that all the videos that we've seen so far on social media revealed it was one person who is not associated with the protesters. He kind of latched onto it and was doing a Heil Hitler like Nazi salute towards students, and UW-PD says they are investigating that instance of an individual doing a salute, not a group of people chanting. And yeah, whether or not that person's part of the group, you absolutely have to address something like that.
Well,
that's hate speech.
Columbia University, 29% of the people arrested were not students at their protest. That's a line you shouldn't cross either. They have no right to be there.
Well, I agree, and you probably at some of these at UW Milwaukee, you probably have community members in there who are not students but are community members, and but they're acting peaceably, and so that protest has been allowed to continue.
Do you think these protests will subside once graduation commencement occurred this weekend or the following week?
Perhaps. I will say this. When I was at the UW Milwaukee campus, there was a parade of cars that went from Marquette. There was a march at Marquette University on Thursday, and then there were about 20-plus cars that joined them, and then they all took this caravan to UW Milwaukee. So at that point, there were a lot of people there who were not associated with the university, and that makes me wonder if even after graduation, that will allow the camp to continue because you have a number of people who aren't associated with the university kind of keeping it going.
One more twist on this after the break. Bill Glauber, AJ Bayat-Pour. Now, universities, some, are canceling their commencement assemblies because of these protests. Let me get your thoughts on that and more. Political Power Hour, WTMJ.
The Upswing with Jeff Sherman.
It's all shoe time, all family business. How do you just make it all happen as a family?
Get to know what's going on in the community and businesses throughout Milwaukee and Wisconsin.
I think it's family first.
Yeah.
We really love and respect one another, and I think are our best cheerleaders.
We always call my wife the CEO, the Chief Emotional Officer, and she keeps us in check. But it's really gratifying.
Weekdays from 10 to 11 on WTMJ.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi for Universal Windows Direct. Spring is here, maybe summer soon. It's only going to get hotter. Do not cool off the outside. Call my guys at Universal Windows Direct. Super spatial technology. What does that mean? It keeps the edge of the glass warmer, holds the window seal longer, and that makes the windows last up to 5 times longer than other window systems. That's a reason right there to call Universal Windows Direct. Plus, they back it all up with a true 20-year warranty. Call today. I'm going to give you the number a couple times. 414-410-2000. For every 2 windows you buy, 2 free. Buy 4, get 4 free, 2020. See what I'm talking about? There's no limit. 414-410-2000. How about this? If you need free financing, 0% financing, 60 months is available. Go to UWD.com. UWD.com, like me, you'd be saying, I love my windows.
Planning for the future should include your pets. What will happen to them if something happens to you? From setting up pet trusts, to securing a caretaker, to the best place to keep your pet's information, the Humane Animal Welfare Society, HAWS, has the important resources you need. Download a free pet planning guide at hawspets.org and watch your informational video titled Planning for Your Pet's Future to ensure you're prepared. Plan for your pets. Learn more at hawspets.org.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
One of the best things about being in business for 25 years is having clients recommend AccuNet to their now adult children for help buying their first homes. That's how I connected with Dan and Allison, and let me tell you, they were fast learners. They quickly embraced our most powerful tool for winning offers, Appraisal Wiggle Room. Their first offer was $15,000 over asking and included a provision which AccuNet guaranteed they could afford to make that they would still pay the higher offer price even if the appraised value came in up to $15,000 short. The result? Accepted offer versus several others on the very first try. And by the way, if the appraisal had come in $15,000 short, which it did not, Dan and Allison would have needed exactly $0 extra at the closing table. If you think all mortgage lenders are the same, think again. Go with a multi-generation mortgage lender that has the tools and know-how to help you win. Click on the blue button today at accunet.com.
Hey, WTMJ's John Mercure here. Guthrie and Fry protects the water in my house. Guthrie and Fry has provided expert advice, quality service, and reliable water since 1974. Owners Sue and Rob are well known and very generous in the local community for supporting great causes that change lives. We've got their water softener. We've got their reverse osmosis system. Our water is crisp, clean, and clear. GFwater.com. It's Guthrie and Fry.
Better water makes a big difference. Guthrie and Fry.
We got a good one today. We got news coming up. Don't forget, latest from ABC and local news with a great Connie Weber. That's coming up. All right. I saw this story breaking this morning. I'm a big fan of Michael Smerconish. He does Sirius Satellite Radio. He's got a show on CNN on the weekends. I watch it every Saturday morning, 8 o'clock. He was supposed to be the commencement speaker at Dickinson College, which Bill told me is in Pennsylvania. Pulled back this week because of they said, something he wrote in 2004. But really, this is more about, I think, the protests. And that seems to be what's driving a lot of the cancellation of commencements. Either of you can jump in on this. This is a byproduct of these protests, and it's not a good one.
It's not a good one. Columbia canceled its widespread graduation ceremony, too. I think Michigan did the right thing. They went through with it. There was a protest. Police moved the protesters out, and the show went on. And I think that schools should not cancel these graduations. They should go through with them.
Why are they canceling then? Just they're afraid?
It seems that way.
I would agree with Bill on that. I think you got to just go through with this. The students deserve that. The graduates deserve to have their moment the way that they expected, especially this class of all of them, because these are
the pandemic babies.
These are an age of students who lost their high school graduations. If you go through with a commencement, it's disrupted for 15, 20 minutes. I think they'll live. I mean, they're college students. They've been seeing this. I don't think that would necessarily last in their minds as much as it would to have their commencement be reduced into these small little, mini groups, mini graduation ceremonies.
Whenever I talk about protests on the show, and I spent a lot of the week last week with all my different editions of the Political Power Hour, Monday through Friday, 9 to 10, talking about this, I get this question, and I got two of them just now on the text line, 855-616-1620. Outside funding of protesters, one of the things that people notice, a little detail, all the tents look exactly the same. They're all the same kind of tents, same color. That suggests there's some coordination that's happening maybe outside the student group, because last time I checked, most students don't have a lot of cash, right?
And they don't have green. What's the color on the tents?
It's like a two-tone green.
Yeah. Well, any ideas on what that's about? Are there other organizations funding these protests? I would think so.
In one case, I know that there's been discussion in Madison about whether, to what extent the student government is using some of those, those segregated fees that they charge for student activities, if that money is going toward this. So if this is kind of a student government allocation to help pay for some of these things. I know like the renting of U-Hauls was one of those things that had happened in Madison.
I have no idea who's funding the protests, but they clearly are being funded.
Yes, by somebody.
And
we're going to find out eventually.
There is a level of coordination in that when you look at some of the demands, they're very similar from one campus to the next. The list of demands are basically it's almost boilerplate language.
So, so here's I only got a minute, but is there a mastermind of all these college protests? Somebody that's got the template or the play sheet and saying, "This is what you're going to do next. This is what you're going to do next." Is something like that going on?
Well, the late Tom Hayden could probably tell us if he was still around. Right. He was obviously very good at leading protests. I don't know who the leader or the leadership group of these protests are, but it wouldn't surprise me.
All right, a month from now, will we still have protests?
Heading down to the Democratic National Convention, yes.
They're going to move from the campus to the side of the convention. What about here?
For some reason, they're not honing in on Republicans, even though the Donald Trump is bandied about another Muslim ban. It's kind of strange to me.
He is Bill Glauber, longtime journalist, now retired, working on his golf game, he tells me, which he said is not good, so he got work to do there. AJ Bayatpour, CBS 58, great reporter and somebody who's really digs deep on the stories like Bill used to do in his 40-plus years of journalism. One on TV, one in print. We're just getting warmed up. We haven't even focused on Wisconsin and Milwaukee. Well, we sort of did in the Wisconsin. So that's going to be our next half hour. The Political Power Hour is the show. We're going to get the latest from Connie Weber. But before we do that, here's the latest from ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. It's the third week of former President Trump's criminal hush money trial in New York, and ABC's Eric Tursky said before testimony today he was found in contempt for a 10th time for violating the gag order.
It's a $1,000 fine for the one violation, and the judge puts the defendant on notice that if appropriate and warranted, additional violations, future violations of the gag order will be punishable by incarceration. So the judge is not mincing any words here.
President Biden spoke with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu as Israel tells civilians to evacuate the southern Gaza city of Rafah. The U.S. has spoken out against expected Israeli military action in Rafah. Amid ongoing pro-Palestinian campus protests, Columbia University has canceled its university-wide commencement. And for the first time in 5 years, there's a high-risk severe weather warning, possible long-track tornadoes from Kansas into Oklahoma. This is ABC News.
Citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time 9:31, a developing story. City of Milwaukee replacing Milwaukee Election Commission Executive Director Claire Woodall with her deputy, Paulina Gutierrez. Mayor's office confirms the move to WTMJ and says an official announcement is expected later this morning. We'll have more details on this developing story. A child's 911 call leads to an arrest in Fond du Lac. Police say the child told dispatchers his father was intoxicated and had hurt him. When officers arrived outside the home on Scott Street, the suspect made verbal threats to police. After an hours-long standoff, authorities took the suspect into custody without incident. Child's recovering from serious but non-life-threatening injuries. 3 other kids in the home were checked. They have no injuries. Classes resumed today in Mount Horeb for the first time since police there shot and killed a 14-year-old student who brought a pellet gun to Mount Horeb Middle School and pointed it at responding officers. Time for some news about your money in the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow is up 119 points, 38,794. NASDAQ up 105 at 16,261. S&P 500 is up 30 at 5,158. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite, financial planning at every level. Details at annexwealth.com. Taking a look at your roads now with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons paving time saver traffic. Those problems on I-94 westbound have pretty much cleared up, so traffic moving smoothly again there this morning, this hour. At I-43 southbound Brown Deer Road to downtown, of course, that's a construction zone. A little bit of slowing, take you about 14 minutes. And I-894 westbound, the Mitchell interchange to the Hale interchange, about an 8-minute drive this morning. Your WTMJ 5-day forecast. It's going to be nice today with highs 63 lakeside up to 71 inland. Increasing cloudiness tonight with an overnight low of 49. Then showers and storms likely tomorrow. Highs in the upper 60s to the lower 70s. Partly cloudy. Chances of rain late on Wednesday again. Highs around 68 to about 74. Cloudy, cool, breezy rain likely Thursday. Highs in the mid to upper 50s. And then partly cloudy Friday with a high of 60. 60 in Madison right now. Green Bay 62. Milwaukee 57 degrees. I'm Connie Weber, citing Unlimited WTMJ News Time 9:33.
Small business owners, we know finishing your to-do list can feel like rowing upstream, but it's a river, a whitewater river, and the only paddles you have are pool noodles. Then when a new to-do pops up, you're like, nope, I'm already rowing upstream with these pool noodle paddles. At Progressive, we don't want to make your day any harder. That's why we make it easy to get personalized discounts with a commercial auto insurance quote online, so your to-do list is smooth sailing. See if you can save on commercial auto insurance in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverages and discounts not available in all states and subject to policy terms and underwriting.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
I'm the guy that never gives 5 stars because I never believe that anything is perfect. But I would give them 20 stars if I could.
Ernest's stellar review belongs to QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative treatments. They came through when he badly needed relief for his aching knees, and doctors had told him that surgery was the only option.
What they're doing is cutting edge, and it really helps. And I'm a tough sell.
QC Kinetics is led by National Medical Director Dr. Mitchell Scheinkup, a pioneer in this field. With 20 years of clinical work, tons of research, teaching, publishing in non-surgical natural pain treatments, these are the medical pros to trust.
I'm living my life basically pain-free from what I was dealing with, so I'm a happy camper today, no doubt about it.
QC Kinetics. Call today to see if you're a candidate.
Call QC Kinetics, 414-285-3474. That's 414-285-3474. 414-285-3474.
Thanks for tuning in to the Political Power Hour Monday edition, which means straight journalists. We got two good ones. Bill Glauber, the outstanding longtime journalist for Journal Sentinel, covered things around the world, politics, and a whole lot more. Do you ever do the Olympics?
I did 8 of them.
8?
Yes.
Are you excited about the Paris Olympics?
I am. I think it'll be terrific. They're always good when they're in Europe.
Europe, I just got back.
The best Olympics I went to was Barcelona. It was just
an impressive
stunning.
city.
Yeah, just stunning.
A lot of history and a lot of cool stuff. All right, AJ Bayatpour, my other guest. All right, so I kind of tossed this idea around Friday. Roughly 6 months now to Election Day for the President of the United States. We got a lot of different conversation Friday about what might impact the race. I wanted to get your journalistic perspective. Game-changing things or occurrences that could impact whatever's going to happen in November. Any ideas or thoughts on that one?
Well, I would just go to the obvious of Trump's impending conviction in New York. Which
you think he will be convicted?
I believe he will be convicted just based on what's happened, based on the jury, based on where it is. I would anticipate a Trump conviction. And I don't know how that would unsettle the race, but I think that even though it's already built in, I think it could be, a triggering moment for a lot of people.
I'm curious to see what exactly comes of this protest movement as we go into the summer. I mean, does this expand from college campuses? The expectation is once the college year ends, okay, these encampments will go away. But we know what happens. We know protests tend to get hottest in the hottest time of year, those hottest days. Are we going to see scenes at the DNC or in other major American cities, large-scale demonstrations, if they end up getting violent? What specifically does that do with these Collar County suburban voters who have been, in Wisconsin, drifting away from Republicans? Is that going to suddenly give somebody who, say, voted for, Scott Walker in 2010, 2012, turned off by Donald Trump, started either voting Democrat since or just left that race empty? How is that going to play with those voters?
6 months ago, maybe a year ago, women's health issues / abortion was the issue.
It still is an issue. There's things that aren't game changers per se, but that are sort of built into what's going on. The obvious problems with abortion for the Republicans is built into this election now. So is the organizing of the two parties. The Republicans are recasting the RNC. Do they have a get out the vote operation compared to the Democrats who've already opened dozens of places here in Wisconsin, offices here in Wisconsin. So there's things that are already built in that are hurtling towards us over the next 6 months.
One of the things that's interesting, you mentioned the offices. The Republicans have very few field offices, if any, across the United States. They have essentially remodeled, recrafted the RNC to the Trump organization. Basically, family members, close confidants, associates of Donald Trump.
And they're into what's known as election integrity, about watching the votes be counted.
Right.
Now, are they going to be able to push people to get to the polls? That also takes tremendous amounts of man and woman power. So are they trying to do something that it won't help them?
Somebody asked me this question last week. If Donald Trump loses, one, he's probably not going to accept it. I think he's already said that on numerous rallies in the last few weeks, as recently as like this weekend or last week. He doesn't accept, so we have the similar scenario to 2020. What do either of you who've covered protest and reaction, post-reaction to elections think that scenario would look like? Because then the president is not protected from these legal cases where he could, in some cases, federal cases, pardon himself. That goes away. He's just a guy, Citizen Trump. What would that scenario feel like from your perspectives? What might it look like?
Curious to know what the extent to which that would look like. I mean, would we see a similar gathering happen in Washington? I don't know.
I would say yes.
The difference is there's no transfer of power this time. It's not like Trump is no longer going to be president. He would just have challenged and lost.
He's not sitting in the White House.
But still, you're going to have a lot of people who would look at it and say it happened again. But that's part of the issue here, because you're having the Republican Party itself, trying to get on board with some of these things like mail-in voting, get out the vote, absentee voting at the state level. We've heard for months that's something that they're trying to encourage. The RNC, in some ways, trying to encourage that, but then you have the candidate himself continuing to raise questions and say, can we trust this? Can we trust that? And kind of cast doubt on the election process. That's going to be fascinating to see. And yeah, you can't help but wonder if he ends up losing, to what extent you would see a large-scale gathering in Washington.
Are we going to get a full count? I mean, will one side or the other go to the court to try to stop a count?
Yes. We're going to have every scenario we saw in 2020 times 10 if Trump loses. Now, if he wins, I have no idea what to expect, because he's asked, or he's called for just a first day that could be something we're never going to forget in our nation's history, because the things he's talking about, he says day one. I would think it probably would last longer than that. That might be on itself a very unique story in our nation's history. All right, we're going to take another break here. Bill Glauber, AJ Bayatpour, Political Power Hour, WTMJ.
A Brewers Group outing is the best way to celebrate any special occasion. Birthday parties, anniversaries, or bachelor parties. You can count on the Brewers to host. Brewers account reps make your day at the ballpark a breeze. Plus, get set up with customizable tailgate spaces, seating blocks in your favorite spot at American Family Field, and much more. Start planning your group outing now at brewers.com/groups.
Hey, this is WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi for Adair. ADAIR, we just worked with them, Kathy and I. They replaced our basement landing area. It looks fantastic, sort of the wood plank look, made for basements. We can work with their design team. Certainly you can, too. They have been around for 65 years right there on South 27th Street in Franklin. That's that border between Oak Creek and Franklin. Know it well. South of Rawson, north of Highway 100. Their design team ready to help you with all your flooring and remodeling needs. More than just floors, trust me. Home or business, family owned and operated right there in Franklin. Stop in. Tell them Scaffidi sent you. They'll be extra nice. They're always nice. They'll be extra nice. You can find them online at ADAIRfloors.com.
Well, I would say some of the biggest challenges to building American-made furniture is competing with low overseas wages. America has higher wages.
Ben and Arvid Huth from Penny Mustard Furnishings.
It's still a big benefit to make it in the United States, because even though labor costs are higher, we all know the American worker is the most efficient, most productive worker in the world, especially employees in the Midwest. Midwest people are renowned for their work ethic. There's advantages to that outweigh extra labor cost. And there's also a lot of other advantages. Freight costs are way cheaper if it's made locally.
If you build furniture in China, you send it to the Midwest, it's 8,000 miles to get here. And in order to make that travel, you have to be well packaged, heavy cardboard, lots of foam, lots of bubble wrap. We don't do any of that.
Not very environmentally friendly.
No, not very environmentally friendly if you're concerned about that, but we just use a blanket, right? Our furniture travels from the wood shop to our warehouse and right to the customer. And everything's touched by our people. We have no third party touching any of that, so we can control that quality.
PennyMustard.com.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
I'm Brett Matchke, and you're due for service.
Ridgelawns. You can give them the same old, or you can surprise them with something unique from St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Store at a bargain. Almost new, but really cool. The thing about thrift store gift shopping is that you never know what you'll find, but when you find it, you'll know it's right. That's what makes it fun. And if you just can't choose, gift cards are always available at St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield and 23rd and Lincoln in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Is your lawn more yellow than green already this spring? Vince Vitrano for Great Lakes Landscape, Southeast Wisconsin's premier lawn, landscape, and snow management company. Time is now to sign up for a season-long fertilizer and weed treatment program that'll have your lawn looking tip-top in no time. Fresh mulch for the flower beds, or a full landscape maintenance package, that's available too. This is the go-to team for patios and new construction landscape as well. Tell them you want your lawn looking as good as mine. Great Lakes Landscape. That's Great Lakes Landscape, WI.com.
I love when breaking news happens while we're on the show. Put up a power with your location on your radio dial, or for all the streamers out there, thanks for tuning in. We got Bill Glauber, veteran journalist, AJ Bayatpour. I would say you're a veteran journalist. How long have you been doing it now? It's been pretty long.
Like 15 years total.
15 years, and you're a youngster in Bill and I terms, right?
I don't know about all that, but yeah. 15 years total in the reporting business.
This is what you have to look forward to.
Well, golf? Okay. That sounds fun.
No, that's just part of it. All the other stuff's not that much fun. All right, so breaking news, Mayor Cavalier Johnson replacing Milwaukee's election commissioner, or executive director is the official title, Claire Woodall, with her deputy, Paulina Gutierrez. This is all because of great reporting at the Journal Sentinel. Allison Durr, I think, Allison Durr wrote the story. What's going on here? Seems kind of late in the game to be doing this.
I would defer to Allison. I'm looking forward to seeing what she's writing later today for the reasons behind this. Right now, we don't know.
How many people are trying to get a hold of the mayor right now?
Quite
Cavalier
a few.
Johnson.
Quite a few, I'd imagine.
Would that be on your
everyone has
list?
the same question. Yeah, absolutely. Why? We're 6 months away from the election. Why are you changing the head of the city's election commission when you know that out of all the places in the U.S., Milwaukee is going to be right there at the center of attention on election night?
I'm not a person that says they have done a horrible job doing elections. They haven't. It's a big city. It takes time. It's kind of a messy job. I've talked to clerks around the state in the last 4 years, and they all say the same thing. We are committed to getting those votes counted accurately and as quickly as possible, and the same is true with Milwaukee. But you've now handed to the loser of this race an opportunity to say, well, this new commissioner, executive director, that's one of the reasons things were screwed up. You've given opportunity to somebody who's an election denier, in my opinion. What do you think?
The election deniers would always rip the way Milwaukee does the vote tabulation, regardless of who's in charge. It's just built into the system now.
What I still can't get over is you had U.S. Senator Ron Johnson, some Republicans saying, please, let's count the votes before Election Day so we can at least get that part ready, open them, count them, protect them.
Right. Yeah, allow them to open, allow them to begin the process of they wouldn't start counting before Election Day, but they would get them open. It would be ready, so you're not waiting as long for those absentee ballots to come in.
You had bipartisan support for an idea which has worked very well in Florida, by the way, which was a train wreck in 2000. We all remember that story. Bush Gore, that stupid picture of the guy with the funky glasses looking at those hanging chads. You remember the story, Bill Glauber?
Of course. Well, you know, what you're getting at is you really have to ask the Republican legislators why they balked at
But it
passing the
wasn't
bill.
everybody. It was some of them.
It was the Senate.
Yeah.
Speaker Voss, he actually
all in.
He was supportive of that in the Assembly. It was the state Senate where this died.
Me? He was all in on this. How does that not get done?
You'd have to ask the Republican legislators. I think actually, I seriously worry about the vote count and what will happen, after midnight in Wisconsin. I don't worry that the votes won't be counted properly, but I worry about the shenanigans that are going to be taking place by the political parties trying to one-up each other on this count, especially the Republicans who seem to, don't believe anything right now.
All right, you guys hate making predictions, but I'm just going to ask. You can deny it. You can say you don't want to. All right. Will it be messier than 2020 or less messy? This one.
If I had to say, I would venture to say less messy is my initial reaction, just because you don't have as many pandemic-related, when you try to pin down what exactly is the complaint about what happened in Wisconsin in 2020, inevitably it goes back to the nursing home in Racine County. It was the Racine County nursing homes. Well, that was a pandemic rule to waive the requirement that the special voting deputies have to go there. You're not going to have that this time around. You're not going to have all these lawsuits and things of that sort. And in fact, there wasn't necessarily a lawsuit to break up something like the democracy in the park. It was just something that was brought up after the fact, saying, well, they shouldn't have been allowed to do this.
And the vote counts have been faster.
Well, and they'll be faster this time around because they're I'd have to imagine there won't be as many absentee ballots in Milwaukee this time.
I've said before that I think Madison will have a record turnout. Milwaukee will not have a record turnout. Do you agree or disagree?
Well, those are the trends. The trends is Madison's growing. Madison has a very high turnout. Milwaukee has not had as high a turnout rate in recent elections.
Madison is going to hit that area, Dane County, will hit like 91, 92%. Crazy numbers.
Not 102%?
No. Don't start stuff, Glauber. That's the last thing we want to hear. All right. Well, even though Bill's retired, after the break, what they would be covering or looking to cover this week, what's the breaking story in their head that they would be spending time writing or talking about on the TV? AJ Bayatpour, CBS 58, Bill Glauber, from a golf course near you. One more segment after this.
It's like playing baseball in the house.
Mom, Dad broke the window.
Without the risk of...
Again.
That. Every Thursday at 8:40, play virtual baseball on Wisconsin's Morning News. Step up to the virtual plate and test your mettle against the best.
Swing and a drive to right.
It's virtual baseball, presented by Siding Unlimited. Only played here on WTMJ.
Hey, this is WTMJ, Steve Scaffidi for Badger Fence. I had a beautiful cedar fence installed. I was a customer before I was a spokesperson. About 5 years ago now, I trusted Badger Fence with that job. It looks fantastic. Looked at it a lot over the weekend. They've been installing high-quality, durable fences since 1945. Proud member of the Better Business Bureau, A-plus rating, as well as a member of the National Association of the Remodeling Industry. Privacy, security, wide choice of fence styles. Those are the things you look at when you're choosing a fence. Badger Fence is the right choice. Licensed, bonded, insured, also very important. Using the best materials in the industry. We chose cedar. You can go wood, other woods, ornamental, chain link, PVC. They will help you choose the right materials for your project. And when it comes to quality, unmatched in the industry. And, this is a big and, at the most competitive prices. We love our new wood fence. My wife Kathy and I always talk about it. And we found the right match with Badger Fence. To set up an appointment to talk with Badger Fence about your fence project, go to simple, badgerfence.com. Badgerfence.com. Tell them Scaffidi from WTMJ sent you.
Travel deliciously to Milwaukee, Chicago, or around the world. This is Teresa with Milwaukee Food and City Tours. Listen this Saturday at noon to hear about our next adventure, or join a tour at MilwaukeeFoodTours.com.
We find the best way to protect and uphold the reputation of our business is to hire good people and then take care of them. We really do love the people that work for us, and we care about what's in their best interest. And what that means to you is this: who do you really want on your job? Someone who's maybe underpaid or doesn't feel appreciated, might not have paid vacations or great work benefits? Our folks have all of these things and more. Vito and I make sure they feel appreciated, because happy people do happy work. There's a culture we're building here at Semper Fi that brings respect back to a very hard job. And that's why we know that our crews are going to do the kind of work that you expect. This is Brad Youngluth with Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, your local, veteran-owned and operated exterior remodeling company. For your new roof, siding, window and door installation, or masonry work, you can count on Semper Fi to keep you safe, warm, and dry.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry, Semper Fi.
Hey, John Mercure here for Floor Coverings International. They just did the flooring in our house, and it is stunning. Carpet, luxury vinyl plank, in and out quickly. They rolled up with that mobile flooring showroom. Incredible. Came in, walked us through everything. The installation was quick and easy, and it is absolutely gorgeous. FCI, the stars of flooring. Each Floor Covering International business is independently owned and operated. They are the real deal. Go to FCIFloors.com for a free consultation. They'll transform your home. FCIFloors.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
I've enjoyed this hour of conversation, political power hour. We're just getting started. I do it every day, Monday through Friday, 9 to 10. Two great journalists, one retired, one active youngster, as they say, although he's got 15 years. And Bill Glauber, I'll go to you first. If you were writing stuff down, talking to people, what would you be covering?
I'd be at the protests this
in Madison?
week. Actually, I'm more interested in UW Milwaukee than Madison.
Why?
Well, because there seems to be more community involvement there. There seems to be more things happening there. And I want to know how it's affecting the rest of the campus. And I would concentrate sort of in and out with the protesters and then with regular students going about their day, and to try to figure out what's really going on.
So walk me through the process. Bill Glauber goes up to a veteran journalist. You buy someone a cup of coffee. Hey, let's chat. Cup of coffee? Can you buy him a cup of coffee and say, let's talk?
Well, you just say, let's talk. You get, and obviously the student protesters, as AJ says, they're very media savvy. They have designated people to talk to. But I'm interested in trying to break through some of that and try to be a little bit more low key. And then also, I want to know what's going on at the student union, what's going on in the classrooms, about how the life of the campus goes on as this protest goes on, and to compare and contrast that.
That's an interesting point that we didn't get to. Like, I think the other kids are just taking their finals and just getting ready for graduation. They may tune this out completely.
I would imagine they would.
Yeah.
But I'd like to know for certain if they are.
Would you show up with a dozen donuts? Well, like, how would that work? How does that transaction work? Is it just
you just walk around and you talk to people?
All right. AJ, what do you do?
Yeah, it is interesting because my experience on the campuses has been, they have designated media-trained people, and you're supposed to at least. Now, that doesn't stop us from trying to talk to them, but a lot of times they're pretty steadfast in saying, you got to talk to so-and-so. We got to get you one of the leaders.
And who they all point you to this person, like the other
There's a handful. There's, at least in Madison, there's kind of a handful of people who are designated speakers, so they'll go try to find you one of them. And then there's like people in vests walking around who will kind of point out X person or Y person that you should try to talk to. I'm going to go back to the MPS for what I want to look at this week, because there's going to be a public hearing tomorrow night on the budget, and I'm curious. I've been trying to get answers from the district, haven't been successful yet, so I'm hoping to get an interview here between now and tomorrow night. The question that I have is, how is it that you're proposing to cut nearly 290 jobs, yet from last year to this year, your proposed budget calls for an increase in spending on salary and benefits? How does this district cut nearly 300 jobs and still end up proposing to spend more on salary and benefits? There seems to be a disconnect there, and I'm curious about what exactly is going on that gets to that point.
Next time you're on, we got to talk about that, because I'm curious as well. I'll be honest. I don't trust their budgeting or their process. I just don't. I think it's tainted by years of a lot of nonsense. But we'll see. My youngest brother's a teacher at MPS and has been for many, many years, and he's a hardworking guy, as are the other teachers. I'm married to a teacher who's now retired. I get it, but that process is not working for taxpayers, but more importantly, not for the students and the families. Bill Glauber, great to see you as always.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Hit them straight. AJ, you golf?
I don't. I've golfed once. It was terrible.
Well, take it up. It'll frustrate you even more. This has been the Political Power Hour. News is next, WTMJ.
Are you stressing about your IRS tax problems? Have you received notices from the IRS threatening to garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, or seize your property? You need an ally. Allies Tax Relief has tax attorneys and enrolled agents that are ready to fight for you. They have saved millions for taxpayers just like you. Allies Tax